Thanks a lot for the intro, and thanks everyone for showing up. Okay, so data science for social good. Before I start off, right, maybe I think enough of an intro. I think what I'd like to start off with, given that the conference, I think most of you know what data science is, and most of you are actually probably working in data science or analytics or any of its other similar nomenclatures, right? So just like a show of hands, how many have actually volunteered for nonprofits? That's great, a fair show of hands. And what would be the type of work that you guys have done? Yeah. Research, yeah, so research associate classes teaching at a community center.
Working on a smarter villages program where
Yeah.
we're working with different farmers to increase
Great,
their crops.
great,
CSR programs, stuff with education.
great. Yeah, and yeah, I think these are sort of typical, right? I have volunteered in the past as well, right? It would either be go teach in underprivileged schools, go and clean up certain places, and so on, right? So I think most of us have worked for some sort of social good. Okay, what I'd like to talk today is how do we bring data science and social good together? There is actually a big need. Okay, but before that, I think this is something that I think we've all been. Sorry, how do I? Yeah. Okay, these are things that almost throughout the day we've been seeing this in almost every talk, right? We create huge amounts of information. This is just a Google on big data and analytics, and you see all these kinds of amazing things coming up, right? But it's true that we are getting into a lot of data, and importantly, a lot of it is user generated data. Okay, and then coming deluge with IoT, right? This is basically machines talking to machines, and everything connected to everything else. So again, Internet of Things or Internet of Everything and everything of everything, whatever you want to call it, right? So again, you have amazing pictures around it. We all know that there's an issue here, right? That there's huge amounts of data. There are lots of technological issues. There are lots of analytical issues, and better experts than me have spoken a lot about it throughout the day. So I'll not get into this. Okay, and just some quotes. We know there is a data glut. Okay, Gertrude Stein, I think that was quite interesting. Everyone gets so much information through our phones, through a lot of other stuff that we actually lose our common sense in a way, sort of, right? But more importantly is the last one. Okay, hiding within all of this is knowledge that can help save the life of a patient or change the world. Okay, and that's what I'd like to focus on for today. Okay, behind all of the technology, behind the internet, how is it actually impacting our day-to-day life, right? Every interaction that we do nowadays is practically digital, right? It's through some digital interface, and that creates huge amounts of information at every touch point. Okay, no longer, again, I don't want to focus just on the data. What I want to focus on is how it actually impacts lives, right? So now, most e-commerce companies, right? Many of them are going from internet to mobile as well, mobile platforms. So in a sense, digital and mobile, all of this is now actually our access to the world. Okay, and if you don't have access to internet, access to digital, you're actually deprived of access to opportunity. Okay, and think of this as sort of the highways of the past, right? If you didn't have a road, if you didn't have a power line to a village, you had no access to opportunity at all. You couldn't get out of that. The same thing is going to happen to Internet of Things, and so on, right? So while we focus a lot on these technologies, I think it's actually changing the way we live. It's changing the way we behave, and it's changing the way it's impacting other other organizations, other communities who don't have access to these things. Okay, so again, I mean, from the CA side, so going back to all of this data, who's going to rescue us from the glut of data? It's the data scientist. Okay, again, we've discussed multiple definitions today. If I ask each one of you, you'll have a definition. I'm not sure each one of us will agree as well. Okay, so but it's a mythical data science unicorn. You have big data, throw this person, he'll solve all your problems for it, right? What does he do? Data jujitsu, right? He's a Superman, and he'll wrestle with the data, come up with some answers, do some algorithms, and then great visualization, storytelling, and give you all the insights that are needed to solve all the problems that is in this unstructured mess of data which has been put into a big data platform. But this is sort of the hype, but underneath all the hype, okay, is also this, right? Because of all of this hype, what do we see? How are data scientists made? Okay, you study some math, stat, computer science in school, college, do maybe some hacking on the side, okay, maybe get into some tech institute, maybe also do some management course as well. Finally, at a startup firm, and what do? Best minds are thinking about how to make people click ads, right? So what do we do after all of this Superman? What does he do? And that was Jeff Hammerback. He was one of the lead data scientists at Facebook before he was one of the founders at Cloudera, right? And that sucks was his word, not mine. Okay. Okay. Now it's not really bad. Okay. I mean, a lot of what goes on under data science in all of these organizations is really useful. You do understand and come up with a lot of methods, technologies to actually come up with data. Okay, but just focusing only on that is what sucks. It's not really the fact that people work in large organizations, right? And why is that? One of the reasons, according to us, is, I mean, there's a huge demand for data scientists who have these great skills, okay, and I'm leaving data scientists deliberately ambiguous, right? So we'll come to that a little bit later, okay. But we do have non-profits and other mission-driven organizations who are working on real-life problems in the real world, who have huge amounts of data, okay, and who need skills that a data scientist can bring to the table to work on that, okay. So, as again, just going back to the whole story, okay, this is not how it works, right? How it should work. This is again one view. There are multiple views of it as usual. Okay, have a big question. Find a data scientist who looks at your data. Again, how you define a data scientist is up to you. Somebody who can look at your data, come up with some kind of questions, hypothesis, analysis, and then. But it's not a single person, it's a team problem. Data science is a team skill, somebody said, right? I guess it's a team game. DJ Patil, I think. Okay. You work with a team of people, designers, developers, and then you come up with some solution to it, right? Again, this was part of a discussion. Again, but what we do at DataKind, right? We're trying to put both the previous two slides together. DataKind is an organization that started off in 2011 in the US. Right now we have about 7 chapters in 7 cities. In DataKind in Bangalore, we started off last year. Okay, what we are trying to do is put together a team of volunteers, data scientists, would-be data scientists, would like to know, okay, whatever, right? Just interest in data and working with social good. Just trying to put together a group of people who are interested in data science technology and also contributing to the community. Okay, we put this team together of a community of people, work with NGOs on real problems, real data, and try to solve it. So again, this is not through some theoretical model or product that we give over to the NGO. We actually do it like a project. We work with the NGO, understand their specific problems, understand the specific data, and build an analytical product or model and hand it over to them and make sure it's running. Okay, and all of this is using open source software. All that we build is open, it's available for reuse, and we'll look at some examples. Okay. And again, I should also say that DataKind is not the only organization in this space. There are plenty of others of various flavors. We'll come to that as well. Okay. Before we come to that, I'll just go through a couple of projects that we worked on, right? Just to give you a flavor of what we've been doing. But before I go into that, I'd like this to be more interactive as well. So if you have questions, please do shoot them at me whenever. Okay. So Digital Green, this is an NGO. I see some smiles. So we have a few people here who worked on this. So Digital Green, this is an NGO based in New Delhi. Okay. What they do, trying to improve knowledge sharing, farming best practices in villages. Okay. They work in almost so what they do is like almost like a YouTube for best farming best practices, sort of, right? They work with NGOs who actually have created half an hour to 45-minute videos on farming practices, on women's health, child health, security, education, all of those, right? They have more than almost close to 4,000 now. I mean, this was data of last year, but I think now they have close to 8,000 odd videos. Okay, 120 different topics, 32 different languages, right? And this, so there are these NGOs who work on the ground, who see a farming best practice, create a video out of it, talking to the farmer who did it, who realized the benefit, and other NGOs take this video and show it in other villages, right? So these 4,000 odd videos have been shown in about 8,000 odd villages, 114 districts in 17 states across the country. Okay, but the number of videos, number of topics, languages, it's exploding. Like I said, this was 4,000 last year. This year they have almost 8,000 videos. Okay, and so how do we map videos to villages? Okay, I as an NGO want to go to say Shimoga or some village near Shimoga, and I want to show some video related to farming best practice. Okay, I have a list of 8,000 videos. How do I select which video to show? Okay, that was the problem that Digital Green came to us with. So how do we map videos to villages, right? And here, a data scientist who makes algorithms to click ads would be really useful, because that's essentially the same problem, right? How can I create a map between a product to an end user, between a video to a distinct village, right? So what did we do? Okay. And by the way, all of this was done by volunteers over the weekends in their volunteer time, right? So this was actual project that was executed last year. So what we did, create shape boundaries of villages. Okay, we took only Madhya Pradesh as a start. Okay, we actually created shape boundaries for 35,587 exact villages. We have shape boundaries now. It's open data. Okay, and out of these, within the shape boundaries, 1,062 villages where videos have been shown. They are actually geocoded, and again, this is also open data. It's now available. Okay, so not only have we done this as a project, but this data is also available for use by anyone else. Okay, now, so first step was actually identifying where the villages were. Now, within those, trying to determine the soil type in those villages. Okay, again, Madhya Pradesh has 22 different soil types. All of this data, by the way, is available in India.gov and other government websites. Okay, we'll come to how open that data is, how usable that data is. We'll come to those issues later. I'll just walk through what we did, right? So again, for all the villages in MP, we actually classified by soil type. We actually have soil polygons for all the villages that we want to see. So we know exactly for those villages that we have digitized, we know exactly what the soil type is, what crops can be grown in that. So because from the soil type, so along with soil type, weather patterns, crop produce historically, all of this information, by the way, is available. Okay, is just not available in one single source. Okay, so how do we pull that all together and build it into a unified applications? What was amazing here. Okay, now after adding soil types, weather patterns, crop produce, we have now based on the base features, we actually ran a simple clustering algorithm. Okay, came up into 5 different agroclimatic clusters, and now based on this we can actually recommend videos. Okay, but we also put in a feedback loop, how to look at video adoption measures, how to get feedback from customers. So these were all executed by the digital green team and their team who are actually on the field. But DataKind was involved in actually devising this entire analytic process, building the algorithms, putting in the metrics, and guiding digital green on how this needs to be implemented from a data science, analytics, whatever you call perspective. Okay, and now this is actually in use in Madhya Pradesh, and we are talking to the digital green now to extend this throughout the country. Okay, again, this seems like a very typical project that can be done for a recommendation engine in any other large organization. What was amazing is this was done by a team of about 10 people, 10 to 12 people who are not always fixed because they're all volunteers. So maybe a team of 3 fixed people with volunteers coming in whenever they can spend time. So it's done in an agile mode over weekends or after their day jobs, okay, but done within a 2-month period working on weekends, right, and delivered. Okay, so what again, the power here is not, I didn't want to talk about DataKind here, it's the power of the people who volunteered and the technology that's available, open source technology which is available today, and the open data which is available today which made this happen. Okay, so there is opportunity, there is in the sense that there are lots of NGOs who need this kind of work. Okay, the data is available with the NGOs, there is open data available, there is open technologies available. Okay, so everything that a startup does, okay, I mean they do, most startups do leverage all of this infrastructure to build their own thing. What we are trying to do is repurpose that towards something which is for social good. Okay, again, going away from India, just to look at something that we did in about a few years ago, DataKind did in Washington DC. This was for an NGO called DC Action for Children. Again, very similar, lots of data, no insight. Okay, so we had a group of data scientists in DC who collaborated on this and came up with an application. Okay, this just initially it was just simple visualization. Okay, but it went on from visualization to actually track effectiveness. You could actually monitor by school, by district, by school district, by region, and so on. And now it's become a fairly large application. Now the reason I wanted to bring this was not for the data science part or for what we have done, but now this entire application, like I said, is now open source. So it can be taken, implemented in any geography, and that's what's happening right now. Other NGOs, other organizations across the world, in Europe, in say UK, Poland, lots of other places, they're actually replicating this. Okay, it's available on GitHub. Okay, so anyone who needs to use, who has this kind of problem, you have a ready-made application to use. Okay, so the previous case I wanted to focus on availability of open data, availability of technology, and the availability of people who want to contribute. It's there. It's just bringing people together with the data science background and with the social non-profit background to put them together to solve the problems. It's possible. And now we've gone a step further and we actually have applications which are also available, open applications, right? So what is the takeaway that I want to give, right? I mean, this is again a very extreme view. Okay, and I have not put in all the organizations who are part of this, right? But we have government, business, people, mission-driven organizations, let's say. Okay, data, it's created by all of these guys. You have huge amounts of data, linking back to the first 2 slides. No dearth of data. Okay, now data products, uses of data. Again, almost everyone needs this, right? And I put data scientists in the center, a little bit of egoism, and I think with this audience, I don't think you'll mind, right? Maybe some other audience putting us in the center, okay? But so there is huge amounts of data. There is a huge amount of demand for how the data can be used to solve different problems from industry, for the government. I mean, for example, the Indian government has launched Digital India now, right? Again, if you go to the Digital India program, I mean, website, you can volunteer. There's a lot of projects running. You can volunteer to work on those. Okay. I'm not sure how many have actually looked at it, but it's there. It's available. You can volunteer. You can contribute to Digital India, specific projects which are in there, right? Similarly, business industry that we know, I mean, we've been talking about it all day. Okay, and this is what I want to focus on. Okay, data scientists and again, this includes not just data scientists in the terms of machine learning and all those kind of stuff, but what I mean is anybody who's willing to work with data, come up with insights to solve problems, right? It could be as simple as just looking at the data and coming up with an insight to mean any advanced stuff, right? All of this I just group into this thing here. Okay. Now putting together this group, okay, most of data scientists are here with industry. Okay. What we'd like to see is more of a networked ecosystem where we can actually work on world-changing problems. Okay. Again, here DataKind, like I said, is one organization which works in this area. There are lots of other organizations which work on social good, and they come in multiple flavors. I mean, lots of industry, lots of companies, they do have programs where they work with social projects, with NGOs as part of, I mean, their not just CSR, but I mean, because they actually truly want to do it. Okay, not that they are mandated to do it. Okay, so there are companies which do that. There are also startups which are social innovation startups who work in this area. There are lots of other organizations like DataKind who work on. So, for example, in Bangalore, if you go to Meetup page, I mean, there are a huge amount of meetups, right? A lot of them work on open data, not necessarily for social good, but a lot of them do work for social good as well. Okay, and lots of organizations, they are recruiting data scientists also. Okay, and one important piece which I have left out here in this puzzle is academia. Okay, in the US, there are almost every company starting off a data science for social good fellowship. Okay, in India as well, I mean, lots of the management schools, the technology schools, they are starting off on programs, on projects, on labs which are related to governance, social media, civic issues, and so on. Okay, and in fact, these mission-driven organizations, NGOs, non-profits, and others also who are starting off now, new ones, they are actually highly tech-savvy. Okay, so they do already have. Some of the founders are actually from with a data or technology background. Okay, so between this and this, there's actually a huge flavor of different flavors of organizations who are working in this area of social good. Okay, I mean, the point that I want to drive home today is there is a huge need for these kind of applications, these kind of uses of data science. Okay, and not only is there a need, but there is actually a solution, and there is a way to actually go out and do this. And I'm just requesting all of you to get involved in this in whichever way you can. Okay, one of the reasons I got involved, right? I mean, like I said, I've been volunteering when I started off. I mean, when I was in college, right? With right, going to underprivileged schools, teaching on weekends, teaching math, English, all those kind of stuff, right? We can do that, okay, but I think we have the skill as data scientists, as technologists. We have some skill which we have built professionally, and we are good at it. And if we can donate that skill back, okay, I think that will be of much more value than me going and teaching a school, teaching somebody in a small school. Right? There are teachers who are extremely good at it. Okay, so me going on a weekend and that's my view. Okay, I have colleagues in DataKind who actually go and do that on weekends, teach on weekends. So more power to them, more power to everybody on that. Okay, but I feel that if we can use our skills that we have built and that over time, I mean, and that we are really good at, and if we can use that to give back to society, that will be a great thing. Okay, I think that's pretty much it from me today. But I'm open to questions, discussions. Okay, and I don't know. This is stuck. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Really good talk, by the way. Thank you. How do you choose your projects? Obviously, there are a lot of different problems that.
Absolutely. Great question, right? So again, as DataKind, we are focused on data science. Like I said, on working on data-related problems, which will actually make a change to the mission of the or the objective of the NGO that we are working with, right? So the first thing is that, I mean, obviously it needs to be a worthy cause. Obviously, we do that kind of vetting. At the same time, we also ensure that they have at least a limited amount of data at hand, okay? Or we know that there is some open source of data which I can use to and pull in to solve their problems. Okay, we don't want to get into the thing of actually going in helping with collection of data itself. We do advise and consult on that. We have worked with NGOs where we've said, okay, if you need to collect data, this is how you collect the data. These are the types of data that you need to collect. And we have other organizations in India who do actually help with collection of data. They have technology use, they have people and so on. So we do point those NGOs to people to collect the data. But DataKind usually works once there's data, how do we analyze data to help their problems? So yeah, it is a lot of work. So we talk to maybe about 10, 20 NGOs, maybe one or two might satisfy, but that's good. The thing is, just the fact that we've had discussions with NGOs, we've got the thought. So it's not just data scientists who need to be aware of it. The NGOs also need to be aware that using data science can actually help them, right? I mean, if one of the unique things in India compared to say some of the non-profits that we've seen in the US is they are extremely good at field work, on the ground work. They have also collected the data, but most NGOs, they become local and don't grow larger. Primarily, I mean, bandwidth issues, technology issues, and so something like this will actually open up and help them work and actually scale up. Okay, because I mean, if you look at the number of NGOs thing, right? I mean, and weed out some of the noise within the NGOs also. Okay, but still you see that most NGOs are small and local. Okay, and they really need a lot of help with technology, with data science, and how to scale their objectives as well. Yeah.
How many NGOs you are currently working with, and what are the different other kinds of projects?
Sure. Okay. Okay. So you can go and see this, but I'll just very briefly tell you. As part of DataKind Bangalore, we started last year, August 2014. Okay. So we're about a year old now. Okay. We've worked last year with just three NGOs. This year we've been speaking to about 8 more. So about 12 or 13 NGOs. The kind of projects that we work on, it range from education to like this, the farmers' health. We've also worked on civic issues, right? I mean, like so one of the projects that we did was for Janagraha in Bangalore. I Changed My City, the website. I think most of us are aware of it. So people log complaints there. Okay, but then there is a process by which a complaint becomes taken up as a priority to be solved by BBMP through the site. Now if say 20 people log about the same complaint and there are 20 different issues, but people don't know it's the same issue, same pothole, for example, right? So 20 people will say there's a pothole in front of my house. It's in the corner. I mean, each has a different description, but they're all specifying the same thing, right? But because there are 20 different problems, they are treated as 20 different problems. It doesn't get the priority from BBMP, who keeps looking at that site. Okay, so we came up with way to categorize it, cluster it, identify which problems are the same. So we built an algorithm now to say, okay, even if a new problem is loaded, you can check against existing complaints and see whether it was an existing complaint. You just add to the list and increase the priority. Okay, so that again, if you can imagine the kind of algorithms that go into it, but that's one of the projects that we worked on. Okay, but we are also working on say things like e-governance. Working with recently we've been having discussions with some interesting organizations who are working on say budget data or court law data, right? So one of the big problems right now is that court cases, I mean typically if it comes to a high court, it's take what 3 years in the high court. 3 to 4 years is the average time for a case to get closed in a high court, and it comes to a high court after spending about 8 to 10 years in the lower courts. So a case which is filed in a lower court can take almost 14 years to solve. That's a huge issue. Okay, so and all of the data about court cases, about the number of hearings, what hearings were held, and why it got postponed. All of that is, by the way, public open data. It's available on ecourts.com .gov. Okay. Now if you can mine the data, can come up with insights on why this latency, what types of cases, and is it related to either type of case, type of, or is it from a particular kind of region? I mean any kind of pattern. I'll not throw words, but those are the kind of issues that we are tackling it, right? So it's not just on so the areas are education. We're looking at also e-governance, civic issues, farmers, I mean health, also rural development. But it's an interesting mix. Go to our website, both on Facebook or the datakind.org. You'll have a lot more insights on that. And feel free to contact us. I mean, we'll be happy to partner. We meet up. You can just register on that. We have regular meetups at least once a month. Okay. And just show up there, and you'll meet the other people who are interested in this kind of thing. Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, multiple cities across the globe. No, but DataKind in India, we have only a DataKind chapter in Bangalore. Okay, but we do work with non-profits across the country. So we work with people in Pune, in Mumbai, in New Delhi, in Uttar Pradesh, and so on. Okay. So far, most of our activities have been in Bangalore. We have not really opened up chapters or activities in other cities yet, because we are just a year old. We are still finding our footing in a way. Okay. We are still doing a core group, but people from other cities are free to volunteer. Okay, because most of our work is on GitHub. We do collaborate. We use collaboration tools. So if you are based in say some other city, just feel free to write to us and we'll find some opportunity for us to collaborate.
What are some of the tools that you're using, and what are the skills you're looking for from your volunteers?
Pretty much any skill. Right? Okay. So again, most of our problems is not big data. Okay. Most of our problems is just with data. Okay. So the biggest amount of time that goes in is actually just getting the data in an analyzable format. Okay. So like I mentioned, what we did in Digital Green, right? I mean, all of the data is available on a government website, but possibly in a PDF file. So how do I extract data from PDF files, convert it into a digitized format, right? Or I mean, data, again, lots of data quality issues, deduplication issues. So is just somebody who's willing to spend time with the data, okay, that wrestle with the data picture, right? So any tool that you want to use, we typically use Python, R, Excel, okay. So Google Refine is a great tool. Okay, so pretty much any open tool, right? Anything that you're comfortable with. The idea is to get the job done and so on. So most of our algorithms, applications, we are using Python or R, visualization through some of the JavaScript, right? D3JS, high charts, those kind of stuff. Okay, We are open to using pretty much everything. So it's just that once you pick up a project and we want to deliver it to the NGO, we take it as a serious project which has a deliverable. So within that project, you might not have multiple tools, right? Because I need to deliver something which the non-profit can use. So I cannot do multiple stuff. But pretty much any this thing. And if you come to this, I mean, most people who come to our meetups are not really experienced data scientists. They're just coming there. A lot of them come there to learn. Okay, we see a lot of students, a lot of people who have experience in other fields but would like to move to data science. All are welcome. Okay, because I mean we have roles for everyone, right? And it's not just working on data, telling a story, telling, communicating with the NGOs, making sure that that NGOs understand what we produce, right? Sometimes we can get too geeky, right? So having those kinds of people, right? I mean, typical project managers, communicators, business analysts, visualization experts, everyone's welcome. Yeah. Any other questions? Any thoughts? Okay. Again, this talk was not specifically about DataKind. I urge you to explore. There are lots of organizations, right? I mean, DataKind, we have a method and process of working with NGOs, but there are lots of other organizations who do it in their own ways. Okay, and each person will have their own fit and compatibility with different organizations. So it's not just DataKind. There are multiple other organizations which do it. DataMeet is a great organization who works on open data. I mean, they've been older than DataKind in Bangalore. They have a very robust program. They have strong meetups and so on. Okay, there are lots of other such companies. So feel free to explore and feel free to come and join us. We'll be happy. Yeah. Thanks.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Just wanted to understand what is
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Srikanth Jagannathan, and yes, it's time that we come to an end. We conclude, ladies and gentlemen. Now, after a day-long session, we have come towards the end of the India's most exciting analytics event for the year. That's Cypher 2015 Analytics India Summit, brought to you by India's leading analytics forum, Analytics India magazine. On behalf of the complete managing team of this brilliant, productive and interactive summit, I take this opportunity to thank all the speakers for giving us insights. I would also like to thank each one of you all for being a part of this summit and making it a grand success. Wishing you all a great year ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.